Hello, and welcome back to my RP-1 stream of the Launch Complex Dev Branch. There was a short abortive attempt at a stream a few minutes ago, but I realized that I hadn't downloaded the updates to our heat shields that I promised CMAV I would test. So we've got human-rated EDL coming up very shortly. Sorry, not human-rated, regular entry, descent, and landing coming up. Heatsink thermal protection, and there's the adjustable heat shield. Why does it cost 30K? It should cost like nothing. Upgrade is what should actually cost it. All right, well, that's a thing that needs to be fixed first of all. Oh, probably because RP-1 actually does some stuff to it. Yes.
Oh, I was self-muted. Hi.
Hi. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So there is like a ported old configuration for this. Yeah, that's what's going on. Where it sets the entry cost 20 cm to, yeah. I'm going to have to buy this and then futz my save. But I really don't want to restart KSP a second time. So, well, it restarts fast enough. Right. So, keep the stream going. Bail out of KSP. Fix it. There we are. Okay. So there's going to be a cache rebuild, but that's fine. Back we go. And Maximal, as to programs, I think the only version of mine that I ever made, I put in Discord. So if you just Control F in the dev chat, it should show up there.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I actually put it in a Google Doc. I think I wrote it in Notepad. Because putting it in a Google Doc would have been smart.
No
I used up my smart points already that day.
No worries.
I have a great colleague and friend of mine who once said to me that it was up to me to decide where to go to eat because he'd used up his decision points that day. And that has stuck in my head very, very strongly. But yeah, I think yeah, if you can apportion out some of those, like I'm happy to do the typing on actually interfacing them with the code that CMAV wrote, or CMAV may looking at that. I think Semev has got all the basic infrastructure gone, ready. So
Okay.
get rolling on that. And in terms of integration cost, yeah, like as you probably saw from skimming scrollback, like I was trying to keep them fairly minimal, but you're right that it may not even be a thing that makes sense really. With
Yeah, I mean,
the entirety
yeah,
of it kept, because basically it was basically proportional to the build points. And so guess what else is proportional to the build points? How long you spend building the rocket and therefore the salary you pay.
yeah, that was my understanding as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
like you
no,
said,
it's
because it was just kind of a hack there to stand
yep.
in for something that we now have.
Yep,
Not a
exactly.
hack, but
Yeah. Also the fact that rollout and reconditioning use the same formula, which I really should have cleaved apart when I was doing all my refactoring. I mean, they technically they use this, they parse the same formula, but if you look at the actual formula, it's uh, there's a 1 multiplier applied to half of it and a 0 multiplier applied to the other half, depending on which one you're doing.
sure. Yeah, makes sense. I
Uh,
mean, I'm just in the mind of trying to remove as much cruft from that might be carryover from the old system because we'll
yep.
be adding our
No,
own
I'm
cruft
I'm very
for the new
much
system.
on board with that, and that like also from the engineering side, that's some of the stuff I was doing with KCD. Like I was tempted to just honestly, I was tempted to nuke the entire formula parsing thing. Given that we have the code now, we can just write the
Mhm.
code, and it'll make it 1,000,000,000 times faster.
Yeah, makes sense.
But for people who don't want to compile DLLs, it's nice to be able to change it. Also, it totally eliminates the possibility of any actual end users changing anything if they can't recompile. So.
Yep.
But mostly I was just lazy, so I didn't do it.
I'm not going to complain about it for being lazy right now.
Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully I don't get a Kraken attack from the heat shield that I'm about to use. We'll see.
Luck.
Thank you. I think it is due to... So Vale had the idea that maybe it was shifting attach nodes around, and yet if we can get... Um, yeah, so there was definitely a fun moment last night of throwing lots of math at the problem of sun-synchronous orbit with a solid, and it worked.
Oh, cool.
Turns out I had enough delta V that I didn't have to do it the hard way, and I did it the easy way of achieving orbit and then using a kick. But it was entirely possible to do it with a single burn solid. Okay, so I need to... That's 100 days. What else can we fly meanwhile? I guess we can fly...
If you did it with a single burn, wouldn't you be somewhat exposed to the residuals of the previous stages? Or I guess you could fudge it.
No, you're only exposed to the residuals of the final stage. Because if you're doing it with a single... Sorry, by a single burn, I mean doing an actual historical Thor Able, Thor Delta, whatever trajectory, where you basically achieve desired orbital parameters at Able burnout, such that then you have a known delta V on your kick stage, and then you align to a known thing and perform that maneuver.
Sure. Okay, yeah, I get that.
And you have more flexibility than you might think, because depending on where you perform the maneuver and the angle, you can correct for a fair amount. But given the assuming you don't burn to exhaustion, then you have control over your end conditions. Like PVG will nail it pretty well, at least within the accuracy that we require.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, so I guess I can just do another lunar factor while we're waiting for the other thing to. This is going to be an edit that involves it restarting from 0, I assume, given the costs involved. Yes, as I expected. Which vessel merging would be nice, so I could just put the exact same booster. But it's not vessel merging, really. It's manufacturing. Okay. No construction, no idle workers. Research is the next thing. We have an awful lot of money. Guess I can hire some more researchers now. Although look at that efficiency drop real fast. Although once we get enough researchers, we won't notice the drop in efficiency.
Yes.
Engineering side. Yeah, LC14 is still empty. And that's, I think, correct. We're going to wait a little bit. Yeah, and this is still building. I could assign more engineers, which, yeah, sure. Okay. And I guess we'll make another one just in case we fail. I could also consider trying to do lunar orbit, but that has interesting implications in terms of trajectory. Because you have to have a translunar injection such that you end up perfectly prograde, so you can fire perfectly retrograde. And that seems like a little bit of a bridge too far in terms of Principia. So I'll do
We
it.
could sim it and see how it ends up.
I could sim it, or I could just launch it on the other complex with a liquid TLI stage.
Last time I tried it, I did the full unguided thing, and it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad before. It's not too bad without Principia. Like I've done that a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's with Principia. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not confident about the implications.
Principia change that much, though? Is the question.
It doesn't change that much, but under normal circumstances, you come in with a very similar inclination to like you're launching into the plane of the moon, and you end up at the moon with a reasonably similar inclination. Um,
Hmm?
Whereas with Principia launching the way that I've been launching, that's not how it works.
How far is the inclination off by?
Well, so if I launched it like 32 degrees, then I end up with an inclination of almost zero at lunar arrival, for example,
Hmm. Yeah,
or 90
gotcha.
degrees, depending on whether I
Yeah,
launch
yeah.
from the AN or the DN. Or actually, no, I guess yeah, but like yeah, it's not. I don't yet have intuitions about that. So 4 days rollout. It is July 1st, 1956. So July 12th is when the moon is going to pass its end. July 12th at 7:38 a.m. Let's see. And how far away is this? Oh, that's only 67 days left. Shoot, I need to fly this flight. So yeah, we're actually gonna. Oh, do I have any? No, I guess we're gonna fly it once we're done. Mission X1. Now, let's just check. Are they all All right, so put them in training for the X-15. Them in training for that. And yes, I guess we'll that after. Now, I believe we want to be approximately 4 days, give or take, before. Save here, just in case I screw up badly. Okay. Let's try it. We'll see how it goes. $12. All right, so we're gonna be 3.5 days, which is probably about correct. No, no, the inclination was screwed. Only 5 hours. So yeah, I'll probably have to make my approach slower. Because I think it only takes about 3 days if I burn entirely prograde. Go. Yeah, I like how this launch vehicle came out. Okay, second stage ignition.
Yeah, other than being a little bit lopsided in the stage sizes, it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's less lopsided than Thor Able or Thor Delta. Although in fairness, the real Thor Able, Thor Delta used the original Thor, which had that nice conic section towards the top of the first stage.
Oh no, I'm just talking from an efficiency perspective. You want a little bit more in your second stage than most of
Oh,
your.
oh yes. Uh, you so asterisk. Um, given how bad the mass ratio of this is, I think you want less than you might think. For example, a full 4 minutes on Able Star is like, I think, a hair too much, actually. If it were pump fed, then for sure.
Yeah. I know, but even as pressure fed, it seems
Yeah, I
like
think
it's.
I could take this out to about 3.5 minutes probably, and still break even. Please don't smile. That's the Grand Central Rocket Company.
Yeah, there's that. Also,
33.
you're losing
Yes.
some efficiency for the lack of burn time, but I mean, it's not a big deal.
No, you're gaining efficiency from lack of burn time. I mean, depending where you're going. But so even I think the break-even point for this amount of burn time is probably about 165 kilometers, 170 kilometers. Um,
You going to 185?
yeah,
Maybe. I don't
yeah,
know.
but I like look at my propellant reserves. Like I'm going to 185 because I can.
Yeah. No, I mean, but
Yeah,
this is a significant amount of pitch down, so
yeah, but the steering losses are not actually mounting that badly compared to what the gravity losses would be.
but having a longer second stage doesn't really. I mean, it obviously does a little bit, but doesn't really hit your gravity losses that badly. Most of your
Yeah,
gravity losses are your
yeah, the
you know
first
you're off
stage.
your
Yeah.
first stage.
Uh, well, like not just the lift-off thrust weight ratio, but how long until you get to about 4 km sec?
Sure, but neither. I mean, those are not that impacted by having a somewhat bigger second stage if your second stage is undersized.
Also, interesting note: PVG will never terminate if RCS is on and it has no axial RCS.
Oh,
That's an interesting bug. Which I should probably mention to Lamont actually, because I've noticed it for a bunch and then not actually said anything. Okay. Our land looks good, or good enough. Let's create a flight plan. And we are going to perform the burn at the AN. Which is 1 hour and 1 minute away. Eight. Okay. Now, want. Oh, no, I don't want the analyzer. This. Set both. No. And as expected, we are getting there too quickly. That's closer. what exactly is going on here, but it's not right. Oh, it's because, right, because we're performing the burn on the opposite side of the Earth, our orbiter is getting perturbed more. I think is probably what's happening. There we go. That is acceptable. So now we just need to make it 3198. That's annoying. Yeah, ordinarily we could vary it using. All right, so what if we do this? Whoop, it.
You not put in the full prograde amount and then adjust your your timing,
And adjust my what?
your T initial.
I can't because I have to burn at the node. It's like trying to perform a perigee kick to go GTO.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is rough. I found that if I'm doing the like kind of perfect amount of thrust to do a Hoffman transfer out to the Mun, then the sensitivity to a small amount of extra or not enough prograde is much higher than if I'm kind of overshooting on how much prograde I am.
Yeah.
Just to do the impact.
Yep. Yeah. No, and that's the case. It's just we launched too early is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
To spend all that, so we have to waste it somehow. And the various ways of wasting it are not great. I think the actual answer is just to launch later. Yeah, I'm not sure this is solvable, honestly. Oh, interesting. Okay. So now we're behind, so we want less delta V. Maybe this is fixable. No, this unless I'm missing some obvious trick, this may be. What if we, all right, what if we left in 2 hours and 20 minutes? Kind of the same problem. Yeah, I think we just need to launch a day later. Okay. Let's try this. Okay. Trying again. Onwards to orbit. One hour and 2 minutes. Fixed. Now what do we get? Bam.
Congrats.
Okay. My guess is we actually want something more like 3215. Except we can't do that. Okay. Let's try that. warp until we're back in comms so we can spin up a little bit. Okay, so if we look at our yeah, in an hour this will only be about here, so I don't think we'll have comms. That'll be about there, but probably we might have comms to it. I don't know where it would be. All right. Spin up some. Oh, what do you know? We do have comms. Here we go. The other thing that I could have done to try to bleed Delta V is induce a wobble. But that is really
That sounds
dangerous. Yeah, kind of kooky. Once again, we're performing TLI on the dark side of the Earth. At least we launched during the day. No. As usual, we have rather more Delta V than predicted. So we have to dump even more of it somehow.
much variance is there on the GCRC?
More than an Altair. Like the Altair, I think, is specifically tweaked to have lower variance. Okay, let's go with that. Good Lord. Predicted 3198, expended 3264. Apparently, they were having a good day at the factory this time. How are we going to manage to get all the way up to 3264? I mean, I made these changes so you couldn't do this anymore, and I'm still trying to do it.
Yeah, I'm curious about that myself.
Yeah. Okay. Try that. Not only that, but I also learned that apparently the early Lunas actually performed mid-course corrections.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yep. And I believe that the reason Luna 1 missed was because it failed its mid-course correction.
Yeah, it didn't have some like mini solid system or something like that that was
Are you thinking of
poking around at it, or I'm thinking of something
you're
else.
thinking of probably Pioneer Able?
Yeah,
Yeah, that had 75 meters per second worth of velocity correction. No, feet per second, I think. 75 feet per second.
yeah, but they were in like discrete little bits that
Yes, there
they
were
could
like
trigger,
12 of the 8 or 12 of them. I forget.
which
Yeah,
sounds like exactly the sort of solution that I would use to deal with this problem.
yes, yes, and it like we probably should have something smaller than the spin motors to do exactly that.
Yeah,
Because like yes,
smaller
it
and
would be exactly what
thrust centered.
yes, yes, it would be exactly what I would use on this very spacecraft actually.
I mean, that solution's been used a lot since, not necessarily on rockets, but on like military stuff.
Yeah, I mean the Jupiter missile, its verniers were a bunch with a small solid instead of the LR-101s that Thor had
Yeah,
because it
I
used
think
the.
there's. I was gonna say I think there's a bunch of like more military smaller missiles that use that sort of solution as well, like anti-tank missiles and uh, I've seen anti-aircraft, the big missiles that like launch and then use it like a lateral kick motor to turn over and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, for hypermaneuverable missiles or something.
No, no, I mean just like a VLS stuff. Like
Oh,
they do vertical launch and then they kick sideways, but it's not off of guidance. It's
yep,
just a kick motor that knocks them sideways.
yep, makes sense. All right, let's do this. Magic 17 seconds. Away we go. There we go. Success.
Congrats. I didn't think with burnout that I would actually work out. Oh, sorry, with a variance.
Yeah, much of it is just from the seeded variance. The actual during flight variance is pretty small. Yeah, because like the difference in specific impulse and the amount of residuals are seeded um,
Oh.
when it loads to the flight scene.
Oh wait, so sorry, I didn't realize you were reloading.
Yeah.
That's just bald-faced cheating.
Yes. Yeah. Like I said, I should not have been doing impacts off this, but
Yeah, it's fine.
this one is not as optimal a trajectory, so we'll transmit next to no science from low. Okay. In we come. At least for once we're performing an impact where you can see the moon. Usually it's been 2 moons.
That looks good.
And impact. Okay. "21 days until that's done." How long until training is done? Let's see. One day. Okay, yeah, I know you're out of juice. Perfect. X-plane high, 75 kilometers. Do it. Oh, oops, I clicked the wrong button. That's better. Defaulted to altitude mode. Don't know why. Speed up. Okay, here we go. Kilometers. Four, 5. Okay. Up we go. Okay. That makes sure we only barely pass 75 kilometers. So uh, hopefully we don't have too much problems with oxygen. No, good.
Yeah, isn't the minimum like 30 seconds or something?
Probably, but I goofed once. Don't want to goof again.
Sure. All right, we're going to need another full flight to get all the high altitude science, I guess. Yeah, there's no way we're getting back above 40 kilometers without bleeding too much speed. Yeah, you need bigger wings.
Yep. So instead, we'll just hang out up here. Okay. And now we just ghost on back. Pitch down a little bit. So, okay. I really wish FAR dealt properly with landing gear slowing you down horrifically.
Did a better job of making him slow you down.
Yeah, so the issue is that FAR assumes that basically all surfaces are perfectly clean and you get laminar flow everywhere. But the point of landing gear being down, or for that matter, unfared payloads, is that there's lots of little nooks and crannies that
Yeah,
produce turbulent flow.
yeah.
So it vastly underestimates how much drag landing gear, or for example, wires on a biplane cause.
It seems like, at least for these purposes, that could be faked with a
Yep, I agree.
flat
Yeah, I think I suggested that to Wallace, but there we go.
The reason you're not using one of the bigger runways, by the way.
Force of habit, probably.
Fair.
It I don't know. So for a while, KCT didn't treat that as landed at the Space Center.
Yeah, but that got fixed.
Well, it got fixed that it completes the contract. I'm not sure if it counts as being at the Space Center. Yeah, we
It
got.
does.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I've had the same recovery time using both.
Okay, then yeah, there's no reason I can't just land at the sliff. Okay. Um, oh, close that yet. 80 kilometers. Yes, we can't do that yet. Okay, and I'm just going to do a quickie jaunt to get the rest of the science. Also don't exactly understand why KSB has decided to mostly play on the right side. But
Play on the right side.
I'm mostly getting audio through the right, but that may just be my headphones dying again. Except I heard you through the left can too, so. Yeah, I think KSP has just decided to be weird.
The technical term. But
Yes.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Kerbal being weird. Okay. I thought it was due to some weirdness with Kraken's Bane, but apparently not. Okay. Resume. Now, you suggested actually diving slightly, right?
Yeah, what I typically do is go up to about 25 kilometers till I get to about a minute 30 left, and then I dive down to 22. I mean, it was my flight profile with my plane, so your
Yep.
mileage may vary. I down to 22, 21, and then start lifting back up, because the drag at 20 kilometers was significant enough that I got more speed out of
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
My plane had somewhat bigger wings, though.
Yeah. Yeah, my X-15 alike actually has a has effectively more lower wing loading than this, I believe.
The thing I found is that, um, from and this is definitely a cheat, but your mass ratio on the wings can go lower the higher your I mean, the lower your
Yeah.
loading is.
Yep.
So essentially, you can just spread the mass out more,
Yep.
get the same, like get the benefit of larger wings, and essentially not pay very much for them.
I mean, you pay in drag, but you don't pay in mass. Yeah.
Yeah, but the drag is fairly minimal. I mean, leading edge drag, especially since we can crank down our
Yep.
yeah, and then the rest of the drag is
Yeah, I thought there was. I guess yeah. I guess particularly hypersonic, you don't have much in the way of parasitic drag, and it's
yeah. That you can interpret my half statements at nearly 4 a.m.
yeah, just what's a little bit of hypoxia?
I showed you that plane that I was using to do the high altitude stuff. Something with
Yep.
60, 70 degree sweep angle and pretty lots of wing area, and I was just, like kind of gliding it around at 40 kilometers.
Yep. Cool, we finished our high altitude flight. This was a much more optimal ascent than the other thing. Whee. All right, so land at the Sliff, you say?
Well, I mean, you can if you want to. It's easier. Just was curious why you didn't do it. Especially when you're coming in from this direction.
Yep.
Gotta avoid the gravel zone at the end.
Yeah. Kind of wish there were a. I mean, this is very niche, but I wish that there were multiple eras of Canaveral terrain. Because like LC-39 shouldn't be here yet, and certainly the shuttle landing facility shouldn't be here yet.
Well, if you're still working on RP-1 in 5 years, that might happen. Who knows? I'm curious just how much life RP-1 is going to have.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it depends on how. Well, I was going to say how moddable KSP2 is, but like Harmony will let us do a bunch of things, just slower.
Yeah. On the other hand, with as good as Parallax looks, I just don't know that KSP2 is gonna get you much.
Yeah, I mean, it's the usual problem of a mature product versus a starting product, like like the early days of Destiny 2 versus the mature Destiny 1, like that. Yeah, and like the people who will swap over, like the people who are playing KSP for stock will, I think, switch over far sooner than most of the rest of the community.
Yeah.
Like we'll be. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
how I'm trying to think of. There's some other game that's similar. I guess. Yeah.
The civilizations, for instance.
Yeah, but I feel
Those are
like
like modded.
their mods don't feel quite as necessary for Civ.
There's some fairly big total conversion mods for like Civ 4.
True. Yeah, I haven't actually played past Civ 4, so I can't vouch for 5 and 6. But yeah, I know. Well, certainly it's true with I mean, Paradox games are a great example, but that's as much
Yeah,
due to the DLC as to mods.
that's also true. But yeah, I imagine a lot of people are sticking with like CK2 instead of CK3 for
Yeah.
the mods.
Yeah.
No more. I was just curious. I'm not sure that KSP2 is going to buy you that much more. I mean, it's Jamie and Dave are over there leading
Yeah,
the engineering effort now, so at least it should end up being fairly moddable. But I mean, it's still
yeah,
Unity underneath, and it's not that many versions of Unity advanced.
yes.
There might be a somewhat better, like, you got to remake how part modules work, stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah, that would be,
wasn't looking like, yeah, when I got a chance to look at it a long time ago, it wasn't looking like it was going to end up better, but maybe it's ending up better. On the
yeah.
other hand, it's still going to be more complicated by having to try to support multiplayer.
Yeah, I continue to not see how that is a squarable circle.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Like, yeah, real
yeah, I saw there.
physics and multiplayer, like, choose 1.5. Okay, it's done. Now we can go ahead and edit this and do our advanced bio. Oh, wrong way. Have to unlock it first. And maybe part validation is smart enough, but why is that showing up despite me having the version of KSP community fixes that should have prevented it? Oh, no, wait, that's a part. That's a part. This is the upgrade. And yes, that was concerning. Wait, why does that still cost 10,000? Already bought the part upgrade. Why is it not? Yeah, that's bad. Why did that cost? Okay. And comms. Give me that comms. And adjustable heat shield. What's the other? Gonna. Oh, a solid. Solid. Definitely need a way to deorbit. Okay, it's about 130 kilograms. And Stone Smile, yes, I know CMAV was planning to do that, but hasn't done that yet.
We'll need a little more than 30 meters per second to the orbit, unless you're coming in super shallow.
It's 350. It's just these things are stupid heavy. It's because I'm setting it and then I'm going to refill that with all the propellant.
Oh, sure.
Let's see. Using 2 parachutes. Input 0.1. Point 6. Okay.
I always change it to silk just because the cost difference is slightly significant, while the mass difference is basically not.
I think the safe speed is well, it's not relevant because we'll slow down enough by then.
Yeah.
All right, so this is type heatsink.
Parachutes just don't matter, essentially. They just... I don't even know that setting does anything for real. Maybe if you have engineers to repackage chutes, but...
The spare chutes thing? Yeah, the spare chutes thing is only relevant if you have engineers.
And it doesn't add any cost or mass, which I don't know why, but I guess just for... It should. I mean, it should affect mass and cost, but it just doesn't.
This is actually wrong. This is actually very wrong.
What's wrong?
What is wrong is that this will need to enter
Oh, you're unguided, yeah.
the other way. Also, we're not statically stable. Which is definitely also a problem. Hello, spin motors. Okay. Great, that's not quite enough. That's probably enough. Also, that's 1 meter in diameter, and this stage is not 1 meter. That's also a problem. Does that make any difference? No, purely visual. Yeah, this is a problem. Apparently, we're going to have the bulbous fairing after all. Thought I could escape it. I think that the answer is to do it this way. Then I can actually use the baby sergeant.
Yeah, the baby sergeant is much better deal than 6 spin motors.
Yeah, cost and mass probably.
Yeah.
Why are we up to 174? Did the parachutes get screwed up?
That is odd. Parachutes could have gotten screwed up.
Yeah, parachutes got screwed up. That's all.
They are kind of finicky.
Yep. All right, so that'll work. What we also need are retros. Okay. $20. Oh, that's going to take a lot of electricity. Eight hours. Yes, it is. So we need to triple this. And fix the parachute again. Okay. Now, what do you have? Oh, we are basically stable. Close. Uh, 10, 5.5. All right, so we're about half a degree off alignment.
Turned your sine square into more of a lump instead of a sphere. You might get the rest of that.
Yes. Think that will require retooling it, though?
Possibly.
I mean, or I can just do this, which will also solve the problem.
You could also mass offset.
That made it way worse.
Really? That's
Yes.
weird. Why would it have made things worse?
Oh, nope. Now I'm not getting consistency anymore.
Bars being silly, I guess.
Oh, did we hit nans? Probably. No?
I mean, moving the center of mass closer to the heat shield should be fixing things. I don't
Yes.
know why it's, yeah.
Yes, that's very strange. Yeah, the CM curve just doesn't seem to exist anymore.
Do me a favor, switch to the the bottom option, whatever it was, the one where you can see the stability. Sorry, the transonic design.
Yeah, that's where I am.
Oh, the transonic design. And then switch to sorry, no, just hit center of mass and center of lift on the bottom left. Sometimes I've noticed that FAR gets really messed up, and for some reason it just doesn't adjust the center of lift. And if the center of lift is right on top of your science core, it's still working, I guess.
That's an interesting place for the center of pressure to be.
Yep.
Super weird.
I don't think that's reasonable.
No. Very strange. but sure, do it this way. And actually, I'll edit it normally. I'll make it normally and sim it, and then edit to it if appropriate. Okay. Time to make the bulbous fairing. Max size is 1.098 is what we want. Oops, wrong thing. We want that, and then nice and bulbous. Okay, that should work. That's going to be depressingly expensive. Let's see how it works.
Rocket is back.
Sorry?
I said toothbrush rocket is back.
Yes. It only gets so far away from Thorable. Yeah, that looks like a proper Thorable. Okay, and we have enough delta V. So sure. Yeah, super weird that the engine sounds only come out of the right side, but the other sounds come out of both.
Very odd.
Yep.
But I mean, that flag is weirder, so what do you know?
Yeah. And this is also wrong. Yeah, all these options are. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I designed this wrong. I was right the first time in my alignment. Yeah, I was right the first time. Shoot. Well, that is a sign that I'm too sleepy to keep going in this. So I'm going to stop here. Thanks for watching. Catch you next
Okay,
time.
good time. I was gonna go too.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah, it's late o'clock. Good night.
Yep.